Makes me feel like I'm seeing Cloud Kingdom for the first time.
Yes.
This is, of course, not the first time we've ever seen Cloud Kingdom, but it is the first time we've seen it in Season 4 of the North American Star League, Kev. And it's the first time that we've seen Hasu play against Polt on Cloud Kingdom. These guys have met
also the
once
last
in the
time.
past.
Also the last time this season. It's very unlikely that they play
That's
twice.
true. That's actually very true, unless they were to meet in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that is a great point, Roddy. We've got Hasu spawning down here in the bottom left. He's the yellow Protoss player, and his opponent Polt, the red Korean Terran, spawning up in the top right. Polt is, well, he's turning. He's got a new attitude, Kev. I had the pleasure of sitting down and talking to Polt for about half an hour the other day. Did a little bit of an interview with him, and I just wanted to talk to him about, his past and the way he's approaching StarCraft right now. And he said, you know what? I haven't had the results that I want recently, so I'm practicing harder than I ever have. And I think we're going to see some of the best Polt we've ever seen, Kev, throughout Season 4 of the North American Star League.
Well, that makes it scary for Hasuobs. I'm still a little bit thrown off by the fact that, or by the way that Hasuobs played in that previous game. It's just so unlike Hasuobs to open up the way that he did, being so aggressive, being so sort of all-inish from one base. I cannot help to think that Hasuobs must have watched a replay or two from Polt, figured out how Polt was going to open, and if he would have been able to bust that bunker and the second bunker was not ready yet, if he would have died immediately, I guess he would have just straight up won the game. Whirlwind is a big ramp, so it's harder to wall off for a Terran. I guess those things have to do with the fact, with the way that Hasuobs played. Overall, Ben, it surprised me, and I don't think we're going to see it more often from him.
Yeah, I do think we'll see a return to Hasu's more standard style of play, which is a very passive macro style. Right now we just see the one gate opening with the single gas. I do expect him to be dropping that expansion pretty soon. As I say it. Oh no, that's the Cybercore. Forgive me, Kev. I was like, oh my gosh, it's another gateway.
That would be pretty quick. On the other side of the map, we can see Polt going for the standard no gas fast expand build. Of course, we're going to keep a close eye on his refinery ban, because that was an extremely fast refinery in the previous game. And if I would know my Terran opponent would open up like that and delaying that second and third reactors for so long, I might actually try to bust that as well, because I still think that seems very bustable. Yes, a Marauder is very good against Stalkers, but it also takes much longer to get Marauders, and it's more expensive as well. So basically there are just 3 or 4 units on the map. The moment those units are exposed, they die also quick.
What do you think about just like a 3 Stalker opening that you're so fond of? I didn't catch the timing on that first bunker, but it felt pretty late.
Yeah, I think it was late. Whirlwind is a pretty big map. That might have something to do with it. Wow, Hasu being so keen on killing this SCV that he even pulled some probes, which of course he didn't really have to do.
SCV genocide, Kev. Hasu does not want Polt to see what's going on in his main base, and that could perhaps, prompt Polt to react in a certain way, but Polt does know that the Nexus is down, so I don't think there's really too much that he has to worry about at this stage of the game.
Hasuobs is bringing out the probe once more though, so I think he's going to at least sort of try to be aggressive, but don't tell me you're going to cancel this Nexus Hasuobs and that you're going to try to build a lot of gates and go all in. That seems so unlike you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it either, Kev. He hasn't thrown down any extra gates just yet, and he is continuing to produce probes. He's got 3 probes queued up, so I do not think that we're going to see that kind of craziness. But it could be 3-4 gate pressure off of that expand. That's not completely unheard of.
This pylon is kind of far out though. Maybe it's just a pylon that eventually will be there to spot drops and stuff. But it seems normally you get those pylons out just a little bit later. Then again, it's not really of risk, as Hasuobs does have a couple of units over here. He's going to see that this bunker is not ready yet, but there are 4 Marines. The 4 Marines should be enough to deal with this.
Nice job by this Stalker focusing on that SCV, but the SCV ends up not falling, in fact. Marines do kill the Zealot.
He tried to click it once more, but accidentally misclicked and shot on the bunker instead. So that's not going to work out. Hasuobs is adding 2 more gates. Once more, Ben, I cannot help to feel that this is not really a brilliant start for Hasu.
Polt's allowed to just pretty much expand at his own pace here. Again, Stalker's coming forward. They're not going to be able to do any damage to that bunker.
I mean, this is sort of standard, you could say, but it feels like Hasuobs wants to make something happen, also pulling probes in to start to kill that SCV. But Polt just looks safe. Nothing wrong with that. This time, however, he did open up different, as we saw the 2 racks being added before the refineries going down. So this is a much more standard Terran style.
Yep, and is playing against 3-gate Robo, which is a pretty standard Hasu style as well. We do see 3rd gas going down at the natural now. And I don't know, Kev. I really want to see Hasu just return to what we know him for, that sit back and wait, passive defensive style of gameplay. He's so good at it, one of the best in the world when it comes to playing defensively.
I hope he's paying attention to these Stalkers as Polt is moving out, but yes, he is, fortunately for Hasuobs. Concussive shells are not ready yet, even though that Stalker took a lot of damage. At the cost of 1 Marine though. Oh, smart by Polt. Puts the Marauder in front, he's Big Papa. It's the Kingpin.
Such nice little control things that we're seeing, little maneuvers. Taking that Marauder, moving him to the front so we can get the shot off, so he can absorb the damage. Little things like this make Polt such a great player, and he does have some of the best bio control that we see out of Terran players. Stim is about halfway done, and down goes the starports. It's going to be very standard bio medevac play from Polt. Hasu still not adding. Oh no, robotic space down and actually finishing up, so he is going to go up to that Colossus deck.
Yes, now I really wonder how it's eventually going to play out, Ben. Are we going to see 3 Nexuses of Hasu? Is he going to try to be greedy and add a double Forge as well? As we see a lot of Korean Terrans lately trying to stay on 2 base much longer than trying to get 3 command centers out as quick as possible. But then instead going for a very heavy 2-base push, often even pulling the SCVs. And it's really hard for Protoss to deal with that style if Protoss plays greedy. So far, however, Hasu does not look that greedy at all, as he doesn't even have a Forge yet on the map. And he's just chrono boosting out a lot of units, so he should be fine against whatever Polt has in mind, at least for now.
Yep, Marine Marauder's just kind of dancing around outside the natural of Hasu. Polt also knows that committing up a ramp would be a big risk, and he's probably not going to do that. Just looking around, sends a Marine down to the 3rd base. Doesn't spot the 3rd base, but confirms at least that it's not there, so that's always nice to know. Hasu is going over to that Colossus production. First Colossus is about to pop out, second one's already queued up, and Thermalance also on the way.
As an observer in the main base of Polt as well, so you can see the timing of the first medevacs and also keep track on them if he wants to. He's actively scouting, wants to make sure that Polt is not going up to 3 bases. Cool, Stalk's a little bit out of position. Both Stalkers go down actually because Polt did stim. And right now, Ben, Hasuobs is getting double Forge. And that's exactly that one moment which I think is so risky.
Yeah, this is something that we've discussed a lot in the past, Kevin. Can Protoss players really afford Colossus Tech, double Forge, and
3 bases?
And 3 bases, and it looks like this is what Hasuobs wants to try and do, and honestly...
But he knows that Polt is still on 2 base.
Oh, wow. Is he going to drop the Nexus? I think he surely is. Maybe he just wants to wait and see. What is he waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Polt is going to find his pylon as well, the early pylon that Hasuobs dropped on the right side of Cloud Kingdom. That one will die, and during all this, Polt is going up to 3 bases now as well, Ben. But I still think this is a really scary moment. It's 44 against 45 army supply right now. If they would fight right on this moment, yes, force field is going to be fantastic. But the moment that Viking count is going to climb, I think it's going to be so hard for Hasu to stay alive, basically.
Yep. And Terran is already producing those Vikings, Kev. Producing, in fact, only 4 medevacs before switching over into that. Hasu does finally drop that Nexus, and he's going to go ahead and set up this defensive position at the top of that ramp. This is what we know Hasu for. So right now, Protoss just needs time, Kev. He needs to secure this 3rd base. He needs to get his army going. But Polt is, transitioning so smoothly. His economy so unchecked. I feel like we could be seeing a pretty big 3-base Terran push in 2-3 minutes, and I'm not sure that Hasu is going to be able to have enough to deal with it.
No, that's going to be that type of push where Terran has enough Vikings to deal with the Colossus, or basically has enough of anything to deal with Colossus. But Protoss doesn't have Storm yet, so they only have one part of the sick Protoss army against Terran. And I'm starting to feel the same way. Even though this game might look very even so far, I cannot help to feel that Polt must be pretty happy with how this game is going so far.
Uncontested 3 bases. He does have a little Zealot that's annoying his 3rd expansion right now. Marine Marauder does respond to it, and I don't think Polt even lost a single worker there.
Polt doing such a good job, by the way, being active with his army, despite not fighting, really clearing out anything that is on the map from Hasuobs. We have 2 Vikings on the map right now, 2 more are on the way. Hasuobs is going up to 4 Colossus. That's a lot of Colossus. And now he's going to add 4 more gates as well. We saw the Twilight Council being dropped. He's going to research Blink, and I guess the +2 upgrades are going to be started soon as well. So at least one thing that's going to work for Hasu to deal with that scary push that we were talking about is that he's going to have a ton of gates.
Yep, he's going to have lots of production at his fingertips, Kevin. If he gets the time to really start banking some money off of this 3rd base, he's going to be in a good position. But this is the scary time in the game right now. Polt's at 150 supply. He's producing so many Vikings, and he is moving out. So we have to really ask ourselves, does Hasu have enough? I guess the Viking count really isn't that high yet. Only 4 out. The 5th and 6th Vikings about to hit the field.
Yeah, this is not a fight you want to take right now, Polt. Even though, as you said, Ben, you pointed out so well. Army supply, that's such a massive advantage. All that Polt needs right now is 8 to 10 Vikings, and then he can right-click on the Colossus, and he should be able to clear up everything on the ground.
Yep. We see him just knocking out a little bit of the destructible rocks. Their Colossi still dancing around in the middle of Mount Hasu. Tries to force a fight, blinks forward, picks off a Marine and a Marauder, but that's all he's going to get.
Storm is being researched now as well. That's of course going to help out so much for this Protoss army. That's one phase we were talking about earlier as well. If Hasu gets up to Storm, it's going to be so much harder for Terran to engage. Certainly this is Cloud Kingdom. We all know these defensive positions that Protoss can take, and it's going to make it a nightmare for the average Terran.
No, it's actually Hasu who's going to be the aggressor. What is this that we're seeing right now? Pushing way across the map, very aggressively.
I think he's just checking. He will never fight when he's researching Storm, researching Tutu. There's no way he's going to pick a serious fight right now.
Hasu, I'm sorry, Polt also checking around, stims a couple of Marauders forward, finds the army of Hasu. And ooh.
Oh, that poor Stalker, man. The unfortunate Stalker. There always has to be one.
Bad luck, Brian.
In his Stalker. More scans going down. It's the second observer that Polt picked up already, so Polt doing a good job so far. Polt is up 30 army supply. That's so big.
Yeah, he's got a very, very healthy worker lead. With that second observer kill, Hasu now only has a single obs out on the map. And look at Hasu's vision. He's almost completely in the dark. Kev, he has no idea where Polt's army is, what kind of maneuvering Polt is up to. And I think Polt, we might see him try and take advantage of that here. He is going to start pushing out. He's maxed out. This is the point where he has to go pick a fight. Only 8 Vikings, but a lot of Marine Marauder.
Yeah, 4 more on the way, so it's going to be 12 Vikings soon. The big problem is right now, Hasuobs has High Templars on the map. And that makes it so much more scary. I remember TSL 4, Hasuobs versus Storzane. He was in terrible shape as well. He was down so much army supply, but Hasuobs, his late game army control, as you said as well, it's just one of the absolute best in the business. This is super risky, by the way, as he just has 4 medevacs full of units. That's a huge chunk of his army. Imagine if a couple of Blink Stalkers or High Templars would meet them. Feedback, 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 blink, and then.
And that's a bad day. It's going to be a bumpy ride, Kev. That said, that is enough of an army that Hasu has to be serious about defending it, and there is nothing in his natural right now. His army is moving up to try and intercept. Great Zealot there on that Zanaga tower allows him to see this coming, but right now we've got a very dangerous multi-pronged Polt right now. Does bait out the Storm. Nice awareness, does not lose anything to the Storm and really takes minimal amounts of damage.
I felt he could have dropped a 6th Storm if he would have dropped it a little bit quicker. It's so extremely annoying, of course, for a Terran player to deal with Storms, because those Vikings, they won't regenerate and the medevacs won't save them. There are no SCVs on the map either. So once you drop a Storm, that damage is going to be there for a long time and basically forces the Terran, if he wants to fight with a full HP army, he's going to have to go all the way back.
Man, so much supply in these medevacs right now, and I don't know if Hasu's aware of this drop coming to the back of his natural. There are a couple of cannons there, but that's not going to be enough to repel these drops. The army's out of position and moving to intercept Polt, who's on his way to the 3rd base. There's the big drop in the back of the natural at the same time. Vikings coming forward to pick off the Colossi. Great play here by Polt, moving and catching Hasu's army as it's transitioning. Nice Storms going down by Hasu, though. He's going to actually win this first fight, but it's going to be at the cost of all of his Colossi and also at the cost of his entire natural expansion. He just did not send enough back to deal with this. What a great attack by TSL Polt.
Really sick multitasking here by Polt. Hasuobs on the other side has Zealots all around the map as well. Killed a few SCVs. This natural is going to fall. I think Hasuobs is going to try to go all out, but he just doesn't have enough to finish off Polt right now. So I think he's going to have to go back, but when he go back, he also knows that he's going to be severely outmined. Hasuobs still has a lot of money. He's just going to go for it, which is probably his best choice.
Risky maneuver, but really the only one he has left right now. That command center creating such a nasty choke, and he just can't force his way through. He's got no Colossi, he's got no more Storm, and Polt is able to hold. Not only that, still being active with this drop, going to pick off pylons and tech over in the main base of Hasu. I think our German Protoss is in some really big trouble.
He might eventually be able to clean this up, even though the upgrades, well, are reasonable for Polt and doing a really good job actually picking off all those Stalkers. So the medevacs might be able to get out any units because nothing can shoot up. Okay, no, reinforcements are going to intercept these medevacs, but still, sick play by Polt.
Yeah, beautiful maneuver there by Polt. The fact that Hasu brings the Stalkers back, also a very good decision, but man, so much more damage being dealt by Polt than by Hasu. Army supply shows us that on the ground it's kind of even, but if we just look at the mini-map, we can see economically there's no comparison. We've got a 4-base Terran with 2 extra orbitals, so a grand total of 6 orbitals in play.
These 17 Zealots are a little bit scary though, considering the fact that Polt is so Marauder heavy. That's one thing that works a little bit for Hasu.
That is definitely one thing that's going to help Hasu, but we do have Ghost in the army. EMP, very effective against the Zealot's shields and also against the High Templar, which are the real supplement to the damage output of that army.
And the upgrades are still better for Hasu as well, as he's still on 3-3, and Polt never decided to start 3-3.
Also now going to try to get aggressive at the top half of the map with a Zealot Warp in.
Look at the amount of gas, by the way, that Hasuobs has. He lost his Templar Archives, that's why he's rebuilding it. But he could make so many Archons. He doesn't really have a whole lot of minerals, but you don't need a lot of mineral income to be able to create a lot of Archons when you have 2,000 gas banked up.
That's true, and this is also the stage in the game where those Archons are going to be very effective. Of course, a little bit of that does determine on Polt's usage of those Ghosts. Hasu's still being very aggressive on the map. This is not a big enough army to engage Polt right now, maybe with the High Templar.
Yeah, with the storms makes it a little bit more scary. We have 3 Ghosts on the map right now, and 3 more Ghosts are on the way. Polt, would be very nice if you eventually deal with this pylon, because that pylon ban has been a real nuisance.
And there's now a High Templar on the high ground behind that expansion, but unfortunately, he is not going to be able to drop a storm.
If only he had a Mothership Core there to energize it.
As Hasu does do a good job of reacting to that, or Polt rather. Still hasn't killed the pylon because he's running around trying to chase all of these Zealots. This is buying Hasu a lot of time. He's managed to get back up to 150 supply, 100 army supply.
And as Grito would say, it also allows him to spend all that gas.
He's been trying to spend that gas. He still has quite a bit of it banked up. There we do see a single storm going down on a handful of Marauders. Nice damage being dealt, but really nothing dying. Hasu has gone back to Colossus production. I like that, but Polt he's well aware of it, producing Vikings 4 at a time.
A couple of Dark Templars on the map now as well, but there are mist turrets going up. There's a planetary fortress. Ooh, did Hasu spot that drop? Would be awesome if Hasu was able to do something about these 4 metapacks. Polt is maxed out once more, and this is really that moment where you want to make something happen if you are a Terran player. From now on, Hasu was just going to get stronger and stronger, so
yeah.
I think it's smart that he's going to try to make something happen with a really big drop once more. This is basically the same scenario as we had before.
Really have to commend Hasu on how much time he's bought himself with all these warp-ins, with all this aggression, but lo and behold, here's that big drop in the back of the natural. Hasu's kind of prepared for it. A few Zealots, a single Colossus. And actually,
I think Polt should have just
Polt
fought
could
that.
have fought that. I guess he didn't know exactly how much was there, so he just loads up and leaves. And
now these metapacks are sort of in a tricky position, man. Hasuobs is on the hunt, and Hasuobs can almost smell them.
Oh, he sees them. Is he going to... Oh, he should have waited till all of his Stalkers were there. Going to get some shots off, and does in fact kill one of the medevacs. The second medevac falling as well. Nicely done there by Hasu.
Yeah. And he can just leave a Stalker on each side, and these medevacs are never going to get out.
He's really trying to create a comeback here, and now Polt's on the move once again, pushed down to the 4th base. Now, Hasu can't really afford to lose this expansion, though. He just doesn't have the same kind of bank that Polt has.
Polt is making it so hard for Hasuobs to keep track of this army, because Polt keeps sniping those observers while we do see a storm going down. First one was quite nice, the second one was rather useless.
But Hasu's still pushing forward. Zealots and Colossi and Archons and High Templar, and oh my gosh, such a huge army here. But the EMPs blanket everything. Great EMPs by Polt.
Oh, there's not a single observer here for Hasuobs.
Couple of High Templar coming down from behind, but they're miscontrolled. Only a single storm goes off, and it is not the storm that Hasu needed. Polt will run over this army. Man, those High Templar are so critical. And Polt doing a great job of sniping them off, and I do feel like these are Hasu's final moments, Kev. Polt 160 supply, Hasu down below 50, does tap out. GG and congratulations, Polt wins 2-0 in that very exciting best-of-3 series.
Yeah, really good playing game too by Polt. I think he really did pretty much everything right from the start. He built up a small advantage. Hasuobs didn't really play as greedy as a Protoss can potentially play, like can Chrono Boost out much more workers. Didn't really do that, then played a very sort of passive Colossus style. If you go double forge as well with 2 bases and your 3rd base is late, if Terran does not go for a 2-base attack, which we spoke about, but just go up to 3 bases, you're gonna fall behind. The moment Polt was ahead, he split up his army, which is risky, because if the drop gets intercepted by either cannons or High Templars or Blink, you're going to be far behind, but I think he played it beautifully. In the final fight as well, kept picking off observers. We made it so hard for Hasu to really see where is that army, and every single time Hasu felt there was something going on the left side of the map, Polt moved his big army right to the right bottom and take on the base. Really nice play.
So key. Never doing just one thing at a time. Polt just played great there. Why don't we go kick it over to Andre and Dan, see what they have to say about that great second game.
Man, Polt's so good. He's,
Yeah, man.
he's definitely going to be one of the titans in Season 4. Andre, I want to talk about orbital timings also in the late game TVP. When do you feel it's good? Because Polt added on a couple more command centers, even though he was hitting his first max. And we always talk about, like, when is it a good time to start adding those extra orbital commands?
Yeah, that's really important. You know, a lot of times at that end-game stage, we normally see the gas concentration going to one of two things, Ghost or Vikings. You have to counter the Colossus or High Templars, respectively. So we normally see that, and that's when you have this huge excess of minerals and not of gas. You're just always funneled into putting the rest of your supply into those two units. And that's the case where it's like, oh, well, let's put that into command centers and then replace my SCVs eventually. Polt did that really, really nicely. It was almost like seamless. You know, he was able to incorporate the command centers very well, and while maintaining his army, making sure he has good control, and then slowly removing his SCVs as time goes on. That's the major thing that he did there, and I really felt like that was a key component into him getting that massive army to just slaughter his opponent.
Yeah, I love the timing because it was just when it was started +3/+3 and getting all of his upgrades, so he doesn't really have that much investment into gas. He's preparing it in case he needs to switch, but from that point on, says I'm going to funnel all my minerals from that point. Just kept a huge macro advantage, was on top of his good engagements meant victory for Polt.
Exactly, and that's why we saw just that one attack, and then he backed off, didn't do anything. He was transitioning. He was getting that higher ghost count and also getting command centers. There you can't really get any huge engagements, and then he can actually start really investing in all of his army and just take advantage of his position.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, folks, for that, Andre and Dan, for that little sorry. My mic, I started talking, my mic wasn't on, and then I was like, damn it, what was I going to say? Now I remember. I was going to say thank you. Thank you for that. That last game brought to you guys by Azo Monitors, the leading brand of gaming and production monitors on the planet. Azo.com/NA, where you can pick up your Azo monitor today. Our next game is going to be Morrow versus Arthur.
Big game as well, Ben. Morrow always successful in the NASL, and then Archer, a newcomer, and even a player that we don't really see a whole lot of in general. Played in a couple of Korean weeklies, but that's about it. Back then, won the little talent hunt for Slayers, I believe.
That's right. Won the talent hunt for Slayers and won one of our open qualifiers.
Yes.
That is, of course, the main reason that he's here, folks.
No, we just like his nickname. King Arthur.
Reminds me of when I was a kid watching Arthur the Aardvark. You probably didn't have that cartoon in the Netherlands.
No, we only had the badass cartoons, man. Like the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter.
Short commercial break, and then we'll be back with a lot more StarCraft 2 from the North American Starling.